But to speak against churchless Christianity in favor of belonging to a church begs the question, which church ought I to belong to? I live northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, and where I live, there's every denomination conceivable within feasible driving distance. According to Google, at the time of writing this, there's 180 churches in my city alone, and over 1,000 churches from at least 50 denominations within 25 miles of my apartment. For those seeking a church home, these 180 church signs welcoming newcomers aren't just giving directions to a building, they are 180 different claims to the truth. So how does one tell the difference between a tradition started in 1950 and one started in 33 AD? With all these options, the live question is, of all the options on the table, which church is the true church? They may formulate the statement differently, but they certainly all claim to be so. But which one is the actual church of the Bible? The New Testament was written over the course of about 50 years, from approximately 50 AD to about 100 AD. This means that by the time of the first New Testament writings, the church had already been around for at least 20 years. So the New Testament is written presupposing a church already instituted and recognizable. So while there's no one verse saying, here's how to find the true church in a sea of options, we do have some verses which speak directly and indirectly of the church, and we can therefore determine a set of parameters based on what the biblical text presupposes the church to be, and one can get a fairly accurate description by these methods. For instance, let's say you have a friend across the country who you haven't seen in years, but you still keep in touch with on a regular basis. Even though you haven't seen them in a while, and they may never have said outright, from direct and indirect statements, you can infer what type of vehicle they drive. Let's say they mentioned in conversation, I always keep an extra jacket in my back seat in case I get cold. From this, you would know the car has a back seat, which rules out a few vehicles. Or if at another time they said, yeah, we were about to go hiking up the mountain, but the only road to get to the starting point is a dirt road, and it had rained recently, so I carpooled with the others. My car can't handle off-roading. I didn't want to get stuck. From this, you would know their car is not off-road capable and thus would rule out some other vehicles. And if they were to say, I don't understand how people can drive such large vehicles. It must be a pain to find parking in the city. That's why my car is nice and small. Or if they were to say, I used to have a Tesla. I kind of miss all the features that come with electric cars, but I think standard gas cars are a bit better of a long-term investment. All of these would be indirect mentions and identifiers of the car. You would know it's got a back seat, so it's not a two-seater. It's no good off-road, so it's likely not all-wheel drive. It's not a large vehicle and is compact enough to be good in the city, and it's not an electric car. So while thus far no direct statements were made about the car, we've already got a pretty good feel for what kind of car it is. But your friend could also make more direct statements like, oh, you drive a Toyota? That's cool, I drive a Honda. Or, my first car was a Civic, and I liked it so much I bought another one in 2023. These direct statements narrow it down considerably more than the indirect statements do. They may never say outright, I drive a lower 2023 Honda Civic Type R. Yet over time and by careful examination of the evidence, you could formulate the necessary rubrics to get pretty darn close. And so in a lineup of a 2023 Honda Civic, a 1999 GMC Sierra, and a 2025 Tesla Model X, and a 2016 Chevy Corvette Stingray, you could ascertain the correct car even though they never said outright what type of car it was. And so, with the direct and indirect references made to the church in the New Testament, we can likewise ascertain the true church based on the biblical rubrics, especially in comparison with the options on the table. So let's begin.